Do you remember any times when Nick Kyrgios did the unthinkable on or off the court, from his bold on-court antics to his not-so-family-friendly outbursts? But regardless of his misdeeds, Nick Kyrgios is undoubtedly one of the game's most talented and entertaining players. Today, let's take a look at some of the most outrageous moments of Nick Kyrgios' career, both on and off the court. First up, the frontrunners Kyrgios and Barty. Kyrgios and Barty were the frontrunners for the title of greatest tennis player in Australia in 2022, with the winner declared on Monday night. But the now-retired Barty won the Newcomb medal for the 7th time in a row. Despite a Wimbledon final participation and Grand Slam doubles titles, Kyrgios was bypassed as champion, and he wasn't happy about it. Giving an "I don't care" attitude, Kyrgios took to social media with a graphic comparing his 4-3 championship count and 61-14 match victory record against Barty's. Kyrgios recently said that 2022 was the first year he believed he earned the respect of Australian fans. He said he should have been given respect when he first came on tour. He noted that he had represented them, put them on the map, and produced one of Australia's most successful players in the last decade, yet he was only just getting embraced. He concluded that he did not think that it was his fault. It's not the first time Kyrgios has slammed Tennis Australia after declaring last week that he may never play for Australia again. It's little wonder that the feisty Australian was the buzz of the town on Tuesday after his 4th-round 7-6, 6-3 loss to Jannik Sinner at the Miami Open. Kyrgios started the match by complaining about the court pace and the noise made by a walkie-talkie during one point. The 26-year-old has subsequently assessed a point penalty for unsportsmanlike behavior at 3-5 in the tiebreak. The official's judgment did not sit well with Kyrgios, and he was subsequently awarded a game penalty for slamming his racket into his chair. The Australian then exploded in rage and slammed the Brazilian umpire, Carlos Fernandez. This is not the first time Kyrgios has had a tantrum on the court. Here is a compiled list of the Australian's most memorable meltdowns since his professional debut in 2012. Kyrgios was caught bad-mouthing the music during the 2016 Australian Open. Kyrgios struggled in the 2016 Australian Open. He grumbled about the music during his defeat against Tomas Berdych, cursed a lot, and flung his racket across the court. Berdych won the opening set in 35 minutes, with Kyrgios complaining to his box, which included Australian great Leighton Hewitt, that there wasn't enough loud support. The most memorable match moment occurred when Kyrgios walked up to the line to serve in the second set. He came to a halt to complain about the music he could hear, which is said to have emanated from the nearby MCG, which was holding a Big Bash League semi-final. As if that wasn't enough, Kyrgios got into a furious argument with British umpire James Keothavong. The courtside microphones caught up with their talk, and it's fair to assume it didn't shower Kyrgios with praise. Kyrgios went on to lose the match 6-3, 6-4, 1-6, 6-4, and insulted the chair umpire further, declaring Keothavong a lousy referee as he walked off the court. Next up, his temper outburst over the color of his towel. You never know which Kyrgios will show up on the court. He may be amusing and lively, or he could be aggressive and short-tempered. Unfortunately for the 2019 Rogers Cup personnel, it was the latter. During his match against Kyle Edmund, Kyrgios asked for a white towel rather than a tournament-branded one. Speak about being a diva. The 26-year-old refused to play until he was given a brand new towel, causing quite a commotion on the court as he waited. Kyrgios was also caught partying before leaving Wimbledon in 2019. Kyrgios has long been renowned for his aggressive behavior on the court, but this event called into question his decision-making off the court. The Australian tennis bad boy was seen at Wimbledon's Dog and Fox pub till approximately 11 p.m. on the night before his second-round match against Rafael Nadal in 2019. According to sports analyst Miguel Sebra, Kyrgios was sighted socializing with friends and conversing with females at a bar on Wednesday evening. It should come as no surprise that Kyrgios exited the event. Instead of thinking about his failure, the Australian bad boy went right back to the bar to drown his sorrows. Next up, Kyrgios requested a drink on the court at the 2017 French Open. Kyrgios exited the 2017 French Open in dramatic fashion, shattering 2 rackets and requesting a drink mid-match. South Africa's standout Kevin Anderson knocked the Australian sensation out of the season's second Grand Slam in Paris in the second round, 5-7, 6-4, 6-1, 6-2. During the match, Kyrgios was obviously angry and even requested a spectator to bring him a drink after dropping serve in the 4th set. Kyrgios entered the event with a fitness cloud hanging over him, and hip and shoulder injuries surely helped him to his doom as the then 22-year-old coughed up an unusual 9 double faults in the 4-set loss. Meanwhile, Kyrgios had just lost his grandfather, making it an agonizing ordeal for more than one reason. Next, Kyrgios attributed his loss to a hot chick in the crowd. On the court, Kyrgios is noted for mingling with the audience. However, it never had an effect on his performance. The Australian bad boy stated he had lost focus during his 2019 Laver Cup loss against Roger Federer because he had noticed a very gorgeous lady in the audience. The controversial 26-year-old was unable to fend off the Swiss great's stirring comeback in Geneva, finally losing 6-7, 5-7, 7-5, 10-7 after 1 hour and 51 minutes. After informing his squad of the reason for his bad performance, Kyrgios delivered a hilarious post-match interview. He said he lost concentration when he saw a hot woman in the crowd. According to him, he could marry the lady on the spot if given a chance. Also, Kyrgios threw a chair at the 2019 Italian Open. Kyrgios had one of his biggest meltdowns to date the day after delivering an explosive interview in which he said he can't bear the cringeworthy Novak Djokovic. During an incident at the 2019 Italian Open, he threw a chair onto the court and kicked a bottle. His antics overshadowed legendary moments, including Joe Conta's back-to-back quarterfinal victory against Venus Williams and Sloane Stephens. After losing the plot against Norway's Casper Ruud and receiving a game penalty for unsportsmanlike behavior, Kyrgios was fined £17,000. Playing on a rowdy outdoor court at the Foro Italico, Kyrgios was aroused by the crowd and got into an argument with officials after being forced to forfeit a game to drop down 2-1 in the final. He slammed the fold-up chair onto the playing area after furiously hurling his racket to the floor and then threw an expletive-filled tantrum, yelling at the chair. He then went off the court on his own with his bag over his shoulder, but was formally defaulted from the match. And next up, Kyrgios told Stan Wawrinka that a buddy his girlfriend. Kyrgios informed third-seeded Wawrinka through a courtside microphone that a young Australian player, Thanasi Kokkinakis, slept with his girlfriend. "Kokkinakis hit your girlfriend," he stated around halfway through the second set. "Sorry to tell you that, buddy." Kyrgios was alluding to Kokkinakis, his Davis Cup teammate, while Wawrinka was romantically associated with Donna Vekic. Wawrinka, the reigning Australian and French Open champion, was furious at Kyrgios and condemned him on Twitter after the match. He said it was disappointing to see a fellow athlete and colleague be so disrespectful in a way he could never even imagine. He said that for Kyrgios to stoop so low was unacceptable and beyond belief. Kyrgios was fined £10,000 and given a 28-day suspended sentence for his poor court demeanor. Next, Kyrgios insulted hecklers and referred to Ben Stiller. In a 3-set thriller in Indian Wells, Kyrgios was defeated by Nadal, the 2022 Australian Open champion. Everyone's attention, though, was drawn to Kyrgios' outburst. The match's most famous outburst occurred when Kyrgios picked out Ben Stiller, who was watching from the bleachers with his wife Christine Taylor, to deal with a heckler. Also, Kyrgios used the F-bomb after defeating Ruud in Indian Wells. Kyrgios and Casper Ruud have a long history of antagonism, while Kyrgios previously defaulting from the Italian Open in 2019 for throwing a chair onto the court in the last set of their match. Kyrgios assured that he would have the last laugh on Ruud in March 2022, beating the 23-year-old 6-4, 6-4 in a brutal performance in California. However, Kyrgios subsequently apologized on Instagram for his statements, stating that his emotions got the best of him during the match. Next up, his 2019 outburst towards the chair umpire Fergus Murphy. He simply can't seem to stop himself, can he? Kyrgios was fined £98,904 for destroying 2 rackets and calling the chair umpire an effing tool at the 2019 Cincinnati Masters. The penalties were revealed by the ATP the day after the tennis bad boy yelled at chair umpire Fergus Murphy during a straight sets defeat to Karen Khachanov for infractions including unsportsmanlike behavior, verbal abuse, and audible vulgarity. The ATP specified 8 penalties ranging from £2,282 to £15,216. Lastly, Kyrgios mimicked an obscene act at Queen's in 2018. You'd think Kyrgios would be aware that cameras are prevalent at these kinds of events by now. Last year, during a break between games at the Marin Cilic at Queen's, the 26-year-old was captured performing a lewd sexual act with a water bottle. The live video of what he believed was a private moment between himself and his player's box was aired to homes worldwide. Kyrgios appeared to while holding his drink bottle to his He finished off by spraying water over the ground and took a sip before flashing a cheeky smile after messing with his drink bottle. He received a £13,000 fine afterward. Nick Kyrgios has a long history of outrageous moments on and off the court. From smashing rackets to his daring style of play, he's definitely made a name for himself. Did we miss any of your favorite Kyrgios moments? Comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. See you in the next one.